Mojang says you're not supposed to defeat the Warden, but what if we had no other choice? How long would it take to drown the Warden? Or how many wolves would you need to take it down? Could the Ender Dragon take it on? In this video, we'll discover 15 ways to defeat the Warden in Minecraft. Gravity is a fundamental aspect of reality, even in Minecraft. So how are we going to use this to our advantage? One way you can kill the Warden is to have it fall from 255 blocks into a dripstone spike. Why does this work? Well, the dripstone spike trap is what pushes the damage over the edge to finally take down the 500 points of health that the Warden has. That's insane! Without the trap, the Warden can survive a fall from max build height all the way down to y equals -64, the absolute limit you can have the Warden fall down to. But let's see how else we can get the drop on him. Let's take a page from the Smash Ultimate moveset and use anvils. Now, of course, one anvil isn't enough. So how many would we need in total? If one anvil can do 20 hearts of damage when dropped from 40 blocks into the air, it'll take 12.5 anvils to kill the Warden, or actually 13, since we have to round up. The Warden is immune to fire damage and lava damage, so raining down fire won't work, but there's still a way we can rain on its parade. In fact, we can drown the Warden, though that comes with a couple of caveats. For example, the Warden is really good at floating. It may as well be a pool floaty, so getting him under the water is a mission by itself, but we still have to deal with its massive health pool. It takes a whopping 4 whole minutes to drown the Warden. Let's get a bit more creative. Speaking of which, you'll have to go into creative mode for this one. Drowning in water is one thing, but what about drowning in frogs? As this user shows us, if you trap the Warden in a hole and rig these dispensers to launch frogs at it, eventually the Warden will take enough suffocation damage and pass out, which honestly must be a nightmare for the Warden, especially if they have to hear this the entire time. How many fireworks does it take to kill the Warden? With 7 firework stars used in crafting your fireworks, you deal 11 to 18 points of damage. So you can take down the Warden with about 45 direct firework shots to him, like so. How many creepers does it take to kill the Warden? Well, it sounds like a joke taken out of the official Minecraft joke book. We have found out it takes about 18 creeper explosions to knock the Warden's health down. So unless you have a creeper farm handy, or unlucky enough to run into 18 consecutive creepers while being chased by the Warden, you might consider stepping things up a notch. Now, charged creepers, on the other hand, are no laughing matter, with their explosions being twice as strong as a regular creeper explosion, which mean that it would take 9 charged creeper explosions to take the Warden down. However, we don't always have a channeling trident on hand on a rainy day with creepers around, so I don't recommend this alternative. End crystals deal the same amount of damage as a charged creeper explosion for a total of 85 points of damage done, or 42.5 hearts. Which is why, if you're going to use end crystals to take down the Warden, you'd better come prepared with blast resistance on your armor, because it'll take 9 whole end crystal explosions to take him down for good. And speaking of explosions, Mojang intended the Warden to be like a natural disaster, so instead of thinking of it like a typical boss, it's more like a force of nature, which is what we thought of the Wither when it first came out, so it only makes sense to put them against each other in this literal boss battle of epic proportions. The Wither always starts out strong, with its initial explosion dealing lots of damage, while also being able to inflict the terrifying wither effect, even to the Warden. Just be sure to have the wither spawn in a place with high enough ceilings, if not just outside, because as soon as the Warden gets within melee range, it's all over. The wither gets smashed into pieces within a couple of hits. The wither does stand a better chance over in Bedrock Edition, given that it has double the health of its Java counterpart, for some reason. I bet you won't believe this. The Warden doesn't bother bees. Even if some bees are killed next to the Warden, they just don't attack him at all. Maybe the Warden and the bees became friends over some tea. Or maybe Mojang forgot to update the bees' AI. Or it could be that the Warden is so massively strong that his aura stops the bees from even approaching him. It's unbelievable. Okay, this is a bad joke. How about a mob that is on our side? Like this iron golem. They're known to pack quite a punch, though if you were to put it up one-on-one against the Warden, it's bound to lose. But who says it needs to be a fair fight? If you could surround the Warden and get enough golems to hit him at the same time, the Warden can get overwhelmed pretty easily. From our estimates, it takes about 8 to 10 golems to get enough damage off on the Warden to bring it down. So if you want to give it a shot, it's best to start saving up all the iron you can get. Say you don't have 36 iron blocks yet. Instead of our iron golem serving as our faithful companion, what about man's best friend? That's right, a group of wolves or dogs can take on the Warden. While the Warden does massive damage, none of its attacks can hit more than one target at a time. So if you bring enough canine companions with you, this suddenly becomes a battle of attrition. But a couple of wolves here and there won't cut it. You're going to need a whole pack. Well over 40 wolves. You better hope you brought enough, because if the Warden manages to get through all 40 wolves in your pack, you're going to be next. But what if the Warden went up against Minecraft's final boss? That's right, it's possible to have the Warden chase you through the end portal and into the fight with the Ender Dragon. And while the Warden may pack the biggest punch in the game, what it doesn't have is the ability to fly like the Ender Dragon, which makes this a pretty unfair fight, as not even the sonic booms are able to reach the Warden half the time. And while the Ender Dragon is usually one of Minecraft's endgame bosses, it's nice to see it helping us out for once. Oh, and one more way to take out the Warden is like this. Just type the /kill command for the Warden and poof, gone just like that. Wow, real funny joke. And with that, folks, we'll wrap it up here. Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out. Have a good one. Alright?